Taylor, come on. Taylor. Taylor, come on. Come on. Oh, we don't have Taylor here. That's Trigger. Waiting to see if we're gonna have connection here. Looks like somebody came on. A couple people coming on. Good afternoon, guys. What an awesome, let me see if the sun's better this way. Best day, Kaylee Thompson, welcome. I've been working on the computer all day. Missed it this morning with the live. I don't think that Mike Schulte's in. Welcome, Mike. Don't think I didn't feed that little dog today. I fed her, I just didn't do it live. So, and she did really well, so that was good. We're gonna build on that. But Cole Brewer, welcome in. What I want to do is, I've been on the computer most of the day, emailing and just following up on a ton of stuff from this week. And I came outside, let the pup outside, and I realized how nice it is. As you can see, everything is starting to melt. I may find myself wandering the woods this weekend looking for sheds. It'd be the first time out for me, but with this weather, I don't know that I'll be able to avoid it. But I've got Ellie here, and I want to get in some work with Ellie. Cole from Chase, man, you know what I'm talking about as far as weather then. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to take Ellie with me. I brought the tripod with, because at times I'm going to set this down, and I'm going to show you kind of the view of me working with her, and then it'll help me so that I don't have to focus so much on holding this camera, which I think will help with the dog. So a couple things before I get started. One of the things, Wyatt Anderson's in. Wyatt, aren't you working? One of the things you'll notice, so today I'm working with Ellie. Ellie is going to be a personal dog, so she's going to shed hunt, she's going to track, she's going to do upland and waterfall. I'm going to get a combination of everything in today as far as what she's going to make for retrieves for me. Hey Jeff, how are you? But I also am going to work in some very realistic conditions. So if you can take a look at this, if I were a shed hunter, which I am, this is the kind of stuff I look for. I look for soybeans that were standing over the winter. I look for standing corn. Now our stuff got picked over pretty well. I only have so many acres. I plant it for the deer. We leave it all for the deer, but I also plant it for this purpose, for me to train in. I think you got to practice how you're going to play. So I think it's important. I have it set up purposely. I've taken you guys kind of towards the front of our house, towards the road. This is the back of our house, towards the back. We've got different types of food plots, different types of brush piles, lines, brush lines, standing corn. My neighbors have field that I'm able to use. They let me use it. So I get kind of like a CRP feel. They mow it at times, so I get kind of a mowed feel. So I get all these different environmental things and on a very small piece of property, which allows me to do a bunch of stuff. So today we've got a lot of ponds. You'll notice I got ponds. Obviously hard now, but in the summertime we get our water working that way. I don't mind them being hard water either, because it helps me with some diversion stuff. I'm going to show you that in this drill, and how I get dogs to work around different structure. Watch the mic when you turn around, when you turn us around. Sorry about that, Kaylee. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up like I would a regular session with Ellie. You guys are going to tag along with me. So my session in my head right now is we're going to go for a controlled walk. This is that ramping up where we get a little energy out of her, but it's under 100% control. So we have just walked away from the house. That's all we did. I'm going to leave this mic, or this, not this mic, this, I'm going to leave the tripod here, because this is where I think I'm going to want it to show you, so that I can take a step away from the camera and just handle the dogs. But so the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take her for a little walk, just a power walk under control. And the difference between this power walk and the one that I did last time live was, last time we were on the driveway, and it's very easy. Now today I've got her on lead, you'll notice. So we can talk about some of that heel stuff that people were asking about. You'll notice I don't want to steer the dog with the lead. I want a really loose lead, because eventually the lead's just going to come off heel, and the behavior is going to be the same, positioning. Okay, if I want a reminder that I got a leash, I can tap it on her shoulder and she'll tighten even more on me. That's just transitional. That's something that we do. Now, as I move away from the house, it says my connection is weak. So we're going to see if we lose you or not. It'll be interesting to see. But if I lose you, I'll walk back in. But so here's just my initial walk. Good service today. It was. We'll see how long that is. As I move away from the house, complete control. You'll notice that time I stopped. She had to connect with me. She took an extra step. As we get better, as we continue this, she will back. All right, so the connection doesn't work as well back as I thought it might. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to still do my walk. I'm going to walk closer to the house, and I'll be able to, I might lose you for a little bit, but the closer to the house, I think the better we'll be. So I think we lost a bunch dropped off. We'll see if people come back on. But my power walk is at a pretty brisk pace. There was a nice response from her. Good. Now, one thing you'll notice too is this is a much more difficult spot for her. So I'm getting closer to the house. I'm hoping this connection weak thing changes. We'll see. You'll notice that her, I'm going to stop here. Hope that the connection, let me know if you guys can see this. It said connection weak for a while here. And I lost you for a little bit. But you'll notice that the terrain I'm walking in today is much different than the driveway. It's a lot more tempting to her from a smell standpoint. She smells a lot more here, and it's a lot more distracting to her. So if someone could make a comment if you're getting this or not. Okay, I saw a thumb and I got a yes. Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna actually just walk around the house, just because I'm gonna get better reception. So this is our first part of our training here for today. We're just kind of sinking in with each other. She's getting a better feel for me. I'm getting a feel for her. So we're just tying in, that's all. So from that, and this is where a little bit of energy will be burnt off from her. So she's coming out of the house. She's been on place all morning. So this is where a little of that, this is where people say, well, should I burn off that energy? Don't just let them go run wild, because she is programmed. She's programmed to come out of the house wherever we are. I seem to get good reception here, which is good, because this is where we're going to do a lot. But she's programmed to come out of the house under control, because that habit's been formed. So, hey Jeremy, be good. Okay, I can see you, I can see you, I can see you getting it. I wasn't going to. Okay. So now I'm going to bring her back. Now, you can hear in the background our quack pack is over here. We got the chickens, we got the ducks. It's such a nice day. Everybody's out, right? So, remember what I did loop memories. So I'm going to go right into a loop. if you remember from a couple days back, I did these loop memories. They're noisy. They're doing stuff I don't want to show right now. But when I did this loop memory, I started in a spot. I worked my way around a big circle. I came and I dropped a bumper. Then I dropped a bumper. Then I dropped a bumper. I did 3. Then I came back and I sent her on these 3 retrieves to make these 3 retrieves. So what I was doing was I was getting her to understand that the retrieve doesn't always come from me throwing it. Okay, that's part of it. Before that, we would do a trailing memory, and what I can do is I can do a trailing memory to start out here with her. So here's how I'm going to set this one up. So I just took the lead off of her. It's easier for me to work her off the lead. You don't do that if you don't have real solid off lead work. But so what I want to do is I'm going to show you this pond. Okay, you see those rocks right there? And you can see when I move, she moves. I didn't even say it. She's just, we're connected well. So you see these rocks? I want to send the dog directly through those rocks, up onto the bank on the other side, across the corn, and then there's just a grass field over there. I'm going to put an antler dummy on that grass field. Okay. So I'm going to be. These are lining drills. These aren't quarter and cast hunt from the, like I would if I were shed hunting. But what I am getting is I'm getting her to understand she's picking this up off the ground. It's not something that I'm throwing for her. So we're getting something out of it value-wise of her realizing she's going to have to find something on the ground. What my objective is, what I'm trying to get out of this is to get her to push through different types of cover. So first off, I'm trying to get precision right through those rocks. Then I'm trying to get her to push up over a bank, through a corn, into another type of cover, which is going to be mowed grass, and you'll see that. And then that's where she's going to have to work back to get the retrieve and come back. Now, I'm going to set this up with an initial trailing memory, which this is a little bit longer one with a lot of things involved. You can do this along the fence. You can do this along the side of your house. You can do this anywhere. Trailing memory is walking out, dropping the bumper, turning around, coming back, sending the dog. Dog starts to understand that it's got to pick stuff up off the ground as opposed to being thrown. I don't throw many for dogs once we get past the hallway. You'll see that with the little pup. I retrieved with that little pup last night. You guys didn't see it on Facebook. I did it on Instagram Live. It was miserable. Boy, she struggled. She did 2 really, really bad ones, and then the third one, I figured out one way to get her to come back to me. I just had to get really excited. She came back, and I stopped and did it on that. So I wasn't going to, and I thought, oh, I'll just do something quick for Instagram Live, and lo and behold, it was a mistake. I don't know if it was a mistake, but it was a struggle, and we worked through it. So here I'm going to set this up, and what we're doing now is a trailing memory straight through these rocks, up over the cover, through some cover, drop an antler, come back, and I'm going to line her on it. So, Ellie, heel. Someone's been asking, we've had some questions about asking with names. How come I don't say spry more often? Because she doesn't know what spry means yet. You'll notice that when I start a command with these older dogs, I precede it with their name. So I'm going to shut up because this is too much talking for her and she's starting to wonder. Alright, I lost you guys there. I went through the corn, got to the field. I pitched an antler dummy into that field. Now I turn around and I walk the exact line back. Okay, now I'm going to bring her back. I'm going to set this up for you guys to be able to see this. Ellie, here. You. Now her alignment is really critical here, because I want to shoot her through those rocks, literally. One thing I didn't have prepared is and then my whistle on. So all this is doing, I'm not in a real rush to send her. I'm letting her think about it a little bit. But I'm reading her body language too, and she shows me she's got a nice line. Her ears, her whole gesture on her body right now is solid. She hits the rocks exactly where can you see that? She went through the rocks exactly where I wanted her to, which was good. Now she's got to work through that hump, through the corn, into that field. I lost you guys in the connection, but as I walked through there. And as soon as I see her, I'm going to get on the whistle. Just to recall her. And I'll put my hands out like this, just like I do the little puppy. So she's got to get out into that field and hunt dead. Now I put a little scent on that antler too, on that dummy. Very good. Very good. Right through the spot where I sent her. Good. Hold. 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 Good. 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 Now I can't ask for much more from that. That was really nice. What I like about it was, so I'm totally transferring skill sets right now. We've got her picking up a shed antler, but this is more of a lining drill than anything, and it's a drill to send her through some cover. It's a drill to send her through a couple different types of terrains. It's setting up as a trailing memory so that I can do a loop memory. So it's setting up for a lot of different reasons, not necessarily shed hunting, but I'm still getting the benefit of her understanding shed shape equal retrieve. Remember, she's going to do shed hunting in addition to the bird stuff. So I can cross over. This is where a lot of people ask, what do I have to do first before I go to the next? Should I train for sheds first, then birds? No, it all is simultaneous. There's so many similarities and crossover in our training. We can mix it all in. The dogs understand that they get retrieves as rewards. It's what is the retrieve that gets them the reward. The shape of the antler gets them the reward. The canvas bumper gets them the reward. The feathered bumpers get them the reward. The cold game. All these things get them rewards. Well, pop bottles don't. So if they come across a pop bottle, I don't want them picking up a pop bottle and bringing it to me. Sticks don't. There's all sorts of stuff that she could retrieve. I got stuff all over the place. She could be picking up and bringing to me. If I wanted her to do that, I'd train her to do that. I don't want her to do that. Consequently, I train her to pick up other items. So that's a first step in this loop memory. We got a nice little trailing memory across that pond with a lot of precision. Now I'm going to pull the camera off this tripod, and now I'm going to walk this loop. And so how do you train her not to follow your scent rather than the scent of the shed? We'll talk about that. It's a good question, Elijah. We'll talk about that in a little. Remind me here if I don't get to it, but I'm going to keep this flow of this training going. So now what I'm going to do is walk this loop. So if you can see, there's a pond in the middle. I'm going to walk around the edge, drop a bumper in that spot. Then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to put a bumper on the other side of this tree line. And then I'm going to come back to this spot, and I'm going to send her on one. Then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to send her on two. So I'm adding to this loop where now we've got two bumpers, not straight lined walkout, but then we're going to send a dog on 2 retrieves, so we're getting a little multiple here. So walk along with me. I'm focusing on heel work right now. She has to be steady. Heel. You can see this is prime spot where I would be looking for sheds if I were shed hunting. This is where it might get a little touchy with our service. Here's the field that we worked into on that last one, so I'm making this just this big loop. Still got you guys, which is great. Okay, so here I'm going to get to this field. Out of my bag comes a training dummy. A real likely spot to find an antler. So we're practicing a little bit how we're going to play. Heel. I'm going to heel her back through the corn. I'm going to continue this loop. So it's probably hard to see the loop idea, but take my word, I'm not walking in a square, I'm walking in a real rounded shape. Now we get back into heeling through the corn, which is tough on a lot of dogs. There's a lot of smells in here. This is full of turkeys and pheasants in here. All sorts of smells. She's got to work through because she knows she's on heel. And she's got to really work to pick her path and not get out of position. She's doing a really nice job with it. I'm circling back around, then I'm going to come through, and I am looking for sheds because I have not walked it yet. It's really our first day of melt, good melt. The reason I don't think we're going to find much for sheds in here, so here we jumped a rabbit right there. I don't know if you can see it. So we jumped a rabbit out of here. There's full of rabbits in here. So all these distractions. One reason I don't think I will find a shed in here is because I think my food was gone. All right, I got you back. It's just frustrating. So I kept walking to finish it out. I pitched a bumper to that tree as a visual marker for me. I'm circling heel, circling back around and closing out this loop. And then we're going to send her back on that first one. It's frustrating to me because it's the connection. What I have to do is I have to make sure that doesn't allow that frustration for her to understand that I'm thinking I'm mad at her. I'm not mad at her, I'm mad at technology. They can take a picture of a dime from space and they can't give me cell reception in my house. So that's frustrating. So I'm going to circle her back all the while on good heel. We came through that brush line that I showed you. We jumped the rabbit. We had to walk through that brush line. So we just did a lot of stuff from a terrain standpoint. My husband pays more attention to you than to me. He loves your training. Well, thank you, Natalie. That makes me feel good, I think. He's got to know your love language, Natalie. I don't know what your love language is. My wife's love language is she likes she likes that quality time. So you got to tell your husband, Natalie, to get both of you to sit down and watch Dog Bone on Saturday night. Pretty romantic. So here we go. I line her up now. I reset this loop, right? So I'm back to the original spot. But remember now, I've got a bumper out over here too on the other side of this tree line, which is going to help to divert her from going to the second one first. Remember, if you watched these a couple days ago, I had an issue with her. On my second bumper, she veered to the right and would go to the third bumper, so I had to set that up, and had a call coming in. So we're basically doing the same thing in a different location. Heel. Now this is quite a delay. I'm going to line her very clearly through those rocks again. That's what I'm looking for, right there. I don't know if I was in the way. I don't know if you could see that. I hope so. And now she's working out to get that antler. Again, this is not necessarily a shed training drill. We got other objectives, but I'm going to make it into something positive for sheds because she's making that retrieve of the shape. She's finding it with her nose, which is the scent. She takes a nice line back. That's what I want. Good. Very good. Hold. 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 Her delivery's a lot better today, Dave. You'll notice she's not making her little victory loop. So that's good. I haven't worked on that. That's something that's on my list of things that she needs to get better at. I can do that with my back up against a wall or the garage or something. So now I'm going to turn this, guys, so you can see this one. Now, through this little line of brush, you can see there's a popple out there. There's a popple just to the left of it. Is where this second bumper is. She's not run this one yet. So this is all memory. She's got a bad line. Her line's over here. I got to straighten that line. Good. See her line? She took a line that way. She just had it in her head. That's where it was. Good. It's all right. I'll live with that. Hold. 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 Very good. Did. Good. So I'll live with that. That's all right. There's something we could improve on. You know, she took the line a little bit. She wanted to, as a handler, I called it, I knew it, I could see it. I probably should have fixed it and maybe compensated the liner even further left because she just had that tendency to go right. That's just something I need to pick up on. Now I was going to go back here and do something, but I get really shitty reception. So that's my drill with her on the circle, okay? She did really well. Heel. Heel has to stay good. The last thing I'm going to do with her in this session, so this is my session with her. Let's see if I got reception over here. All right, I think we got pretty good reception. Heel, heel. See, she has a tendency when I stop, she sits. If I don't heel her off of it, she's staying, which is perfect. Oh, I just lost it. I don't know if you heard me say that or not, but wasn't happy with my service. So the last thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to do with her, we're working on some back casting. I'm going to set this up. I think you can see this. I'm going to work on heel. So I'm going to work on this push-pull. So she's this gun dog that I want to handle with. We're working on back casts with her right now. When I get to the point that I feel real good with backs, we're going to start lefts and rights. So this is where she is in her progression. So she's obviously way ahead of the little dog Spry. She's probably not as far as Taylor, but right now, Taylor, I've gone way back with her because over her pregnancy and all that, she's lost a lot. She's just not real sharp. So I have to go back to basics with her. She's not here today. I thought she was. I was going to bring her outside, but Steph has her. So I'm going to heel this dog out. I'm going to heel her out, and I'm going to do setup, so you should be able to watch this whole thing. I'm going to heel her out. I'm going to set up to do like a trailing memory. And then what I'm going to do is stop her to the whistle on the way back, recall her on the whistle, stop her to the whistle, and back cast her. Heel. And make sure you can see it. Sit. Sit. Get back. Good. Good. Good girl. Very good. Hold, hold, hold. Did. Good. I'm going to build on it. Now I'm going to add to that just a little bit. This time I'm going to have to send her, stop her, then send her back. So we're just building on it. It's easier for her to come to me and stop and then back than it is to go out, then stop, then go back. So that I did the easy one first. Now we're going to add a section to it. We're going to add another layer. So heel. See it? Ah. Good. 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 Hold, 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 hold. Very good. Did. Good girl. So that was another little layer to it. So I'm showing you this because this is where I'm at with her. I'm not showing you this to go, that's what I want to do, and I just go start doing that drill. Because if you break down this drill, okay, you got people. If you break down this drill, I did a lot of heel work. I did all trailing memories. I never threw a bumper for her. But before I can do a trailing memory, I gotta throw bumpers for them, get the retrieve, and then I gotta do just real simple trailing memories. Then I can start adding distance and time and all that, because that ends up doing what we're doing here. But I gotta do trailing before I can do loops. Before I can do loops, I have to do have a lot of foundation stuff. This is really fun. I love handling the dogs. I love doing it. I maybe do it too much sometimes once I get to that point. And I'm reminded by that with Taylor. Taylor pops a little bit on me lately, where I send her out and she goes out and she turns around and she looks for help right away. I don't want dogs looking for help. I shouldn't have to help them on basic stuff. I should have to help them when they really need help. So overhandling creates that problem. But so I have to learn from that. But with this, I can't do this. I love doing this, but I can't do it until my dog, first off, knows how to heel. Second off, it's got to learn to stop to the whistle and sit to the whistle. Second off, before that even has to recall. All those things are part of this. The trailing memory is a part of this. So all those parts and pieces have to be there before you could do what I just did. So that's where I show it to you, because that's where we are with her. But as things come up, I'll find holes and then I'll have to fix them. So it's constant. So the last thing I would do in this session right now is heel. We did it the other night with Sierra. So little sit to the whistle. Now remember, she just retrieved how many in a row that I put out? Every one in a row. Here's a tempting one, right? Famous tennis ball. That wasn't a real tempting one. I don't know if you could see that or not. Can you see her? Yeah. So now, I end the whole session on a dog that just made a bunch of retrieves. A dog that just made a bunch of retrieves. And in the end, I go out and I pick them all up. But I assure myself, I thought I had one more. Oh, I do, I got one more out there. I assure myself that I've got a real steady dog, so I don't compromise any of that steadiness. So let me pick this last bumper up, and then that'll be it with her. So let me pull this. I'm gonna run in. Are you walking across the pond? I sure was, walking on water, Wisconsin style. Won't be long after this weekend. Okay, I'm gonna heel her back in, put her on place, go through, come on, heel. Go through a couple of these questions, and then I'm back to work, and I gotta go back to the office here. I've got a bunch of stuff yet that's gotta get done. But I thought, with the weather being as nice as it was, this is nice. This is the best day I've had for training yet. So let me bring her in. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good girl. And she just went right into her place, into her kennel. I didn't tell her to. That's where she wants to go. I'm good with it. I'll let her. Let me take my stuff off. Jump over here. I'll go through, because there was a couple questions I know came up that I just didn't have a chance to answer. I got a bunch of stuff on my phone. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me pull this up, and then I'll go through these questions quickly, and then we'll go from there. So, first off, thanks guys for watching that. I know it's a midday or afternoon on a Friday, so no one wants to do work anyway, right? So, had some new people join in. Had to be the time. Amy, my neighbor, good service today. We had it for a little while. We lost it for a little while. So if you hung with me on it, I appreciate it. Krista was in. Dennis was in. Dennis has been email or messaging back and forth. We've been messaging questions and answers back. Must be something in the air, because my 8-week-old Thor struggled mightily with his feeding training and place training this morning, like Sprite struggled last night. Thought someone came in and switched pups on me. Jeff, it's a roller coaster, brother. Hang on. My pup did real well this morning, so I was real happy with that. And we'll do her again tonight. I've got a basketball game, so I don't know what time it'll be. My son plays tonight, so. How do you train her to not follow your scent rather than the scent of the shed? So in this drill, we're not teaching a dog to hunt. Well, I guess we are. Where that was, she had to use her nose to find it. So she was using the scent of that shed to find it. Do we have scent going out and back on that trail? No doubt about it. But I wasn't working on her quartering and casting. I was working on her taking lines to go through cover. So that drill specifically was set up for that reason. I hear my little pup whining. So I gotta know better than that. She's been sleeping. We've been working. Come on, come on. That's how I want her coming out, nice and controlled. Good girl. You get in, Ellie. I want her coming out real under control, which we got there. So let me do this. Let me just take her outside, because if I don't pay attention, next thing you know, I'll have an accident. So we're gonna take her out. Let her do her business. So you're getting bonus here. You're getting some spry training too. You're getting spry training with distractions. So that's part of why we have the birds. I love having these dogs around these birds, so they understand that it's not a free-for-all. So she does her business real quick. Good girl, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And I'm real quick, come on, to encourage her back and praise her for being so good. Very good, very good. That's how I get them out and in, forming that habit. She's been much better at that the last couple days. So, in addition to that, I'll get her place training going. So this is another thing where I'm doing other stuff. I'm still going to get place training in. Let me spin this around. Back to that question about the scent. So in certain drills, it's inevitable, Elijah. I'm not worried about it. What I was worried about there was her going and taking a line through cover, making retrieve. She still had to hunt and find it in that field. That was all nose work. The second one was memory work. That she didn't take a line of my scent there, because my scent was outside. So when it comes to me worrying about, so that brings up a big question of scent on sheds. Dogs smell in layers. I've went through this a couple times because I think it's maybe the biggest misconception out there, that trainers have to try to eliminate scent when training. You never will. I think it's a complete waste of time. What I do want to do is enhance the good smells, so that my dog, I ensure that they're there, because dogs smell in layers and they separate those layers, and they're capable of doing that. So once you start you train for a dog to understand certain scents are going to equal some shape that equals retrieve. And then you start taking some of those layers of scent away, the dog still is keen on the other scents that have been there consistently throughout. So that's why we're using scent to enhance our training. No different than pheasant scent. So, pheasant scent doesn't smell like a pheasant. It smells like 100 pheasants. It's concentrated. My antler scent doesn't smell like a shed. It smells like 100 sheds. It ensures success in training. My husband pays more attention to you. We talked about that. Natalie, we're going to get him the love language book. Hey, Adam, good to see you on. Feed is in and out. Yeah, I apologize for that. So Jeff must have a buddy of his coming in. Before I tuned in over here, I was on another page watching a live stream of a robot thing at the bottom of the ocean. So yeah, you probably technology. Yeah, you think I could get a cell reception. I was walking across the pond. Speaking of the weather, you'll be putting spry on a tie out. Yeah, I thought about that today, Mike. Pretty quick, we're going to start tying out spry, especially with this nice weather. And when I say tying out, it's a process that we cover. I dedicate a full chapter of it in our puppy training DVD. People have asked about the DVD. I brought a couple copies home just so I could show you guys them. But so we did a couple DVDs. One of them's on shed training. One of them's on game recovery. This one here, this is the new one. And this one I would say is the most valuable, especially if you're looking at dogs like this. But I still think you can take and apply, regardless of age, what I talk about in that DVD to any dog of any age. And so we have a chapter in place training. It takes 10 minutes. It's rather boring, but it's worth its weight in gold to anyone who wants to figure out how to place train a dog. The affordable way to do it is watch all of these live videos, but you're in for some time and commitment, obviously. But in that DVD, we talk about tying dogs out, tying puppies out. It teaches them to give the pressure to the neck. So when I can get dogs to start understanding to give the pressure to the neck, that allows me to start working on heel work. And I need dogs to respond to a little bit of pressure on the neck. So weather's getting to the point, Mike, where we can do it up here in Michigan, or up here in Wisconsin. Have you ever worked with a dog that is sound sensitive? My 3-year-old dog is terribly sound sensitive. The sound of the clicker sends him hiding. Wow. When you blew the whistle, he folded his ears back and crept off into a hiding spot. He's been with me since he was a little puppy, and I honestly don't know why he's like this. It started around 1 year of age and has gotten worse. I'd like to train him and my younger dog with the whistle. So obviously not knowing the full situation, something probably happened to trigger that at around a year. I think a lot of times we don't understand or we don't realize why or how our dogs end up gun shy, but they do, and it usually doesn't have anything to do with a gun. Loud noises of some sort. So something happened there. What I would say is, April, you have to reverse engineer this and go back and get to the point where you can make little bitty sounds and have comfort, and then they're a little bit bigger, and then it's incremental, no different than anything else in training. So I think you have to, that's the way to desensitize. I think you have to be there and be very comforting during these things. So part of it's going to be a test of your trust with the dog and the dog's trust of you, and you're going to have to work through it. And the way I would do it is I would figure out controlled situations that you can ensure that you're going to be able to control where the volume is at with certain things. You probably will need help. You probably get a helper that's going to help you with some of this stuff, and you slowly introduce things to the point where you run into trouble. When you run into trouble, stop there. Don't try to run through the brick wall. Take a step back. But it's incremental, so you're going to have to find that spot where you can get it to, and then figure out how to take a little bit step further. And how can I get a response on a recall outside? I've tried excitement and food, and he won't even follow me with the kibble. Well, you've got too big of an area, Mike. If you look at Chris's picture. Chris had too big of an area. Chris Smith had too big of an area to get his dog to focus and recall. So what did he do? He put his boots on, and he went and built a small containment where he's going to work on those. So you need to figure out how to not lose the control. So you might have to change things. This maybe isn't as easy as, oh, just do this. This might be, you're going to have to do some shit, man. You're going to have to figure out a way to contain it and maintain the focus. And then as your focus, the habit forms, then you can start building it outside of that containment area as long as it stays consistent. So my hallway is my containment system now. I got a lot of control in there, and I'm getting good response. It was a step above this, and then it was a step above the laundry room. Now I'm to the point where I'm going to figure out where's the next spot. I'm hoping it's the kitchen with the open area throughout the house. I'm hoping that is where I'm able to get the same response out of Spry. So you have to, again, incrementally build off of where you have control. So if you've got control in the hallway, now figure out a bigger hallway. Then figure out a bigger hallway. Then figure out a bigger hallway. It's just an incremental thing. Don't go from A to Z because you're failing. Z is the backyard where there's way too many distractions. So go from A to B, and then B to C, C to D, and eventually you'll get to Z. How many dogs are you training right now? Looks like 3 or 4. I've got 3 big dogs, and I've got this little pup. We are working on trying to get a couple more pups in. Right now I'm backed out about 3 years on the waiting lists for dogs. So I'm working on getting pups in. I'm pretty particular on the pups. I don't just bring dogs. Now these are for clients. And the reason I'm particular is because I have to 100% guarantee and stand behind what I'm doing, and I've never had one wash out. I've never had one not make it. Some take longer than others, but that's okay. We get there. So that's kind of that's what we've got right now. Elijah, appreciate the answer. I was pretty curious. Yeah, different types of drills, Elijah. And if you follow along, I don't know that we've had a question from you before, so welcome if you're new. If you follow along with us in the future, you're going to see some spots where we're going to work on specifically having a dog quarter and cast. We're going to work really quickly on a find it command for this little puppy. My dog's hunt command is find it. So I'm going to start working on find it with this puppy, probably within the next 5 days. So stay tuned on that one. I've got a 5-year-old lab, and I'm thinking about training to shed hunt. What's your thought on training an older dog to retrieve sheds? Cole, my first dog was 8 years old when she first started shed hunting for me. Found more sheds the first season with her than I found any year prior without a dog combined. So obviously I was sold on the idea of them. She was a gun dog or bird dog. I cross-trained her to pick up sheds. What's going on over here? Just lay down, little girl. So, yes, you can do it with an older dog, no doubt about it. I would take the same steps with an older dog that I would a pup. The nice part about the older dog, Cole, is you probably have some foundation in place. You get to get right to the fun stuff. The bad part about this little puppy is I have to build a solid foundation before I can ever think about the fun stuff. We're not shed hunting with this dog yet. In fact, we're just this week making a first retrieve, and it's with a balled up sock. So it's going to be a little while till we get to the good stuff. Where can you buy those DVDs? Those DVDs are available on our website, dogbonehunter.com. You click on shed or game recovery on the landing page. It takes you to that. It's under products. So you can get the puppy DVD on either the shed or the game recovery section of our site. Obviously the sheds on the shed side and the game recovery is on the game recovery side. A lot of people lately have been, just of recent, have been having a lot of success with the tracking stuff, which I'm really excited about because I'm getting more response and people sending pictures and orders for the game recovery tracking stuff than normal for this time of year. So I'm really pumped about that. I think it's a great time to think about tracking. We're going to use this little dog. I'm going to show you how we do some of these tracks with this little dog and how we bring it out. I'm going to wait till the weather gets a little bit better, and it's kind of coming right now. But so you can do all of it with the same dog. We're certainly doing it with the same dog. So we'll get to that as this progresses with Spry. So this started out with Ellie, we ended it with Spry. So anybody who's new, welcome. Weird time, totally a weird time, but I did it because I had a chance to train, and I thought, well, might as well try to share this too. So he's good inside, but when there's too much going on outside, he wants to stop in any leaf, puddle, or snow. Distractions, distractions, distractions. And right now, distractions are way, way more interesting, Mike, than you. So two things. Become more interesting to your dog. And the other thing is set yourself up for success. Change where you're working. Don't allow them to get into a slippery spot where the distractions become more valuable or important than you. That's it, guys, for this afternoon. We got an extra training in with an older dog, which is just a bonus. I'm going to try to do more of that. If you're on Instagram, at DogBoneHunter, we are going to start doing stuff on Instagram Live as well. Last night we made retrieves on Instagram that we didn't do here on Facebook. So we had some crossover. We had some people last night that have followed us on both Facebook and they started on Instagram. But if you're not, Instagram is a good spot where you're going to use it as a little bit different platform. Appreciate you guys watching here, and stay tuned. I think we're going to try to get a feeding in tonight. I skipped it this morning. I fed her. Don't get me. I fed her, but we didn't film it. Tonight we might, but I'm at a basketball game tonight, so it could be late. If not, guys, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Get out there and shed hunt. Don't be surprised if we go live a couple times this weekend on Sunday. That stuff that I was walking, the beans that are completely picked off and the snow is melted from 12 to 18 inches down to 3. Well, we're going to walk about 10 acres of that in Buffalo County this weekend. I guarantee you there will be prongs to be found. I don't know how the reception is going to be. I get better reception there than I do here. So it's real likely we're going to find some sheds. And we've got a pile of dogs that have never found sheds before. So you're going to see them find them. And it may be very ugly. But I don't care. We're going to have success, and they're going to find them for the first time, whether it looks pretty or not, and it's going to be the best experience I can give them. So stick with us, hang with us. We'll probably go live tomorrow at Whitetails Unlimited. We're going to be in La Crosse. If you guys are going to the La Crosse Whitetails Unlimited, make sure you let us know that you saw us here too. So have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll talk soon.